Cavecast, the uncensored show for nerds of all kinds.
Because even like the criteria, of what I was going for was, like I was telling you was, look, my first, thought when I think of actors and people that have influenced me so much have been people like Troy Baker, Laura Bailey, Nolan North,
right.
But those are voice actors. So like to me, that's a whole different sector of thing. So, which I mean, we could do an entire episode just on voice actors alone, because that's whether or not it's cartoon work or if it's or rather animation, but especially in video games, there's the motion capture aspect that goes into that. Like, there's a whole different skill set that is there rather than being an actor on set. Right. And I think that both of them have strengths and both of them, have things that the other does not, with different things that are done.
Agreed.
So, let's face it, before digital rendering and things, people used costumes. They were on stages. They were in front of cameras. They were, I'm sure as, some of the TV stuff or whatever that we'll probably talk about tonight, being in front of a live studio audience or, doing a take, in a specific set, maybe it's mostly green screen or sometimes, you have like different things that you're using to pretend or, different things like that. Like, acting is such an interesting thing where people pretend and they get paid for it. And it's really cool. Like it's something that, it's like you think about, being a kid when you would play cops and robbers, it's like, what if like, oh my God, like what if I, could be in front of a camera and, and just, do whatever I want and embody a character where it's like, well, right now I'm just this cop trying to take down this guy, so, it's the people that I think that find that magic, and
there really is something about it. Like, I feel like I forget who it was. I think it was Jerry Seinfeld, if I'm not mistaken, that was kind of like, it was at one of the award shows and he won or something like that, or he was giving an award. I don't know. I swear it was him. It might have been Jim Carrey, but he's like, why is this a thing? Why are people getting an award pretending to be somebody else? And it was just like baffling to him because he's like, I don't know, like, not saying that it wasn't skill, because it is, but it's the fact of you're the best pretender, basically, is what he was saying. And he's like, it's just really odd. But yeah. So that being said, actors, actresses, there are some that are just fucking phenomenal, man.
Yeah, dude.
Like it's just what they were born to do. And it was, no matter what kind of role they have. And I think maybe that's where I was choosing things as well.
Sure. Yeah.
As far as like kind of like versatility.
Yeah, because I mean, even for tonight, like
did I say that word right?
You did. You did a good job.
Good for me.
No, but it's what I tried to do tonight was that I tried to stay away from like some stereotypes. Like for instance, like an easy one would be Christian Bale, just because that guy is literally made for it. And like I wouldn't say that he's necessarily my personal favorite actor. I would look at him and say that he is just a fantastic actor. Like he is dedicated to his craft. I mean, it's everybody's, talked to death about The Machinist and then becoming Batman and like all that stuff. Like that's like, I don't mean it the way it sounds, but it's like, that's kind of old news. And I wanted to freshen things up a little bit.
Sure.
But I mean, there's no shortage of anybody to pick, that's in the industry.
This was really hard.
Yeah.
This was really hard because I think, like I was telling you earlier, was that I like a lot of things, movies, TV shows, but I don't just be like, fucking Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Like I don't really do that a whole lot. I enjoy most everybody. And it just depends. Like a lot of the movies I like have Jonah Hill in them because of the comedy and stuff. He's not my favorite actor. He is a top tier actor.
Sure.
He's not my favorite like that. And I don't mean that in a bad way. And it's not to like throw shade at him by any means. If for some reason he sees this, but
if Jonah Hill is watching the Cavecast, I'd really be like, why? How did you find us? Like,
But it's just the fact of that's how I looked at it, where I was like, well, I don't really have a whole lot of favorites like that. It's just I enjoy a lot of things and there's a lot of them to choose from. So I'm just like, okay, I don't know which one, but I think I narrowed them down. Like I said, it was for reasons as far as like memories and stuff that are attached to them. So
yeah.
So who was your first one?
So
I want to know.
My first one, it may seem like it's kind of like a stereotypical thing, but I have a very good reason, in my opinion, why I chose him. And it's the same thing I told Eric before we started, is that in no particular order, You know, and it's like I could probably have 10 favorite actors, but if I did that, we would be here all night. Like these are just 3 of my favorite actors that I wanted to talk about tonight. You know, so it's like there's plenty of other conversations I could have about other stuff, but I chose Ryan Reynolds for my first.
Okay.
And
he was going to be on. He definitely was one on my list.
Yeah. And it's what's weird is that, you know, like the easy thing I can say about him is that, you know, with Deadpool, like he was literally born to play that character.
Agreed.
And it's, you know, and even the fact that there's, you know, I can't remember what comic issue is it of Deadpool where somebody asks him what he looks and he sounds like. And I think he says something to the effect of, I look like I was bitten by a radioactive Shar-Pei with the voice of Ryan Reynolds. So like, I don't know how long ago that was, or if that was just like made up or whatever, but like it'd be really funny if it was true, just because it's like, no, like they knew exactly what they wanted. And it's like, this is like, if they're going to ever make a cinema version of him, then that's definitely the route to go. And
because he wasn't like an actor or anything until like the late 90s or whatever it was, in like Two Guys, a Girl in a Pizza Shop. So it would have to be after that.
Yeah, because even like that movie, and then Van Wilder, like I've never actually really watched.
Dude, you have to see Van Wilder. That is a solid watch, man.
Yeah.
Apparently, that is supposedly supposed to be like loosely based off of like Bert Kreischer.
I have heard that. Yeah.
And like his college years and like why he like him being there so long and all that shit. But yeah, so that's interesting, dude. That's a solid watch.
Yeah. Which again, it's like I'm weird when it comes to comedy movies. So it's like I
know that's
like,
so fucked.
I never like would have like sought it out. Like, and I probably only would have caught it on TV when it was edited.
Oh no.
So and I know that's a
like
movie,
The Breakfast Club.
You just got to take it in properly, you know.
Yeah.
But no, Deadpool was just, it was such a good time. And just like, it is so easy to tell that Ryan just had so much fun playing him. And it's like he finally got the ability to do something that he's wanted to do for so long. And it's like, that really just kind of cheered me up about him, just because it was just this, you know, amazing, fun character that in a very odd way has a lot of heart, even though he's, you know, this, shit talking mercenary, you know, that only goes to whoever pays him the most. Like he has no allegiance to any side. You know, it's a very interesting, complicated character, but
it is.
Yeah. So, however, what I will say is that the rest of them, I think, have more of a dynamic tone to him. And clearly our favorite Ryan Reynolds movie is Just Friends. Like that is,
yeah,
it is. Well, it's kind of like Ryan Reynolds being unhinged, but it was the first time that I really felt like I was seeing the true embodiment of who I believe he is as a person. And I've always made the joke that it's like, he's kind of like I relate to it of like that, you know, the fat, awkward kid that, you know, somehow like got extremely good looking or something, where it's like I know that like I relate to him a lot. So it's more like in that aspect that when I'm uncomfortable, I make jokes or I'm very sarcastic and things like that. And Chris Brander was just such an interesting character that it's like he never truly stopped being that. You know, it's like even though he has a six pack, you know, so it was so interesting.
You know, that movie is pure gold, and I think it is extremely underrated.
Yeah.
Like it is a hidden gem that if you know, you know, but I feel like it didn't get as big as it should have. No. I know it's a comedy. It wasn't going to win any Oscars or anything like that, but like, those are those feel good, just kind of like, you know, I don't mean like trashy movies, but like those trashy, like junk food movies that you like, but they're good.
Yeah.
They're good. And that was a movie that it almost borderline fell into the typical Ryan Reynolds comedy, but there was something different about it. And I think it was the fact of who he was before, like you said.
Yeah.
There is something there about the fact of you think that that's like the true embodiment of like how Ryan Reynolds probably is as a person. Mm-hmm. I could agree. I could agree. But can we at least appreciate other things like Amityville Horror and all of that where he, where like he is an actor that gets kind of typecasted in a sense. And I feel like most actors and actresses do. Mm-hmm. They play a lot of similar roles, but that movie got shit on for a lot. I don't know why.
I don't get the hate.
I don't either. I don't either. And I really feel like he did such a good job at playing that role. Like it was weird in a good way. And I think that showed his capability And I just think people like kind of took it as a joke, and I don't think they should have.
No, not at all.
So yeah, I agree with your Ryan Reynolds, man. Like he was going to be on my list.
Well, it's even like touching on the Amityville Horror thing is that I think that what really makes that film strong is the fact that the scares were actually scary. Like that was a remake that I think did a very good job of not stealing everything from the original and making it like the kind of their own and almost like modernizing it like in their own way. Like the only thing I wish that they would have done and would have kept was the pig, because that was so just disturbing how like the red eyes would look at you through like the window and everything. And they changed it to now it's just the daughter, you know, and I mean, there's some stuff I could probably nitpick just because I have such a love for the original, but what
as
they
an
did,
actor,
correct.
I was going to say, yeah,
but it's like just the fact that like those moments when he would be in the basement and he's having the nightmares of walking past all the cells and you see like him, like the dead version himself and of himself laying there and he opens his mouth and blood pours out of it, catch him, kill him. And like it is such a very different thing for him where like there was a couple of times I was watching this where I'm like, if I was a kid in this situation, I would be terrified of him.
Yeah.
You know, and rightfully so. That, I mean, that's what it was supposed to be. And like how he didn't really interact with the kids because he knew he had to be mean to them, you know, and he's like, look, you know, he's like, I'm not trying to be mean right now, but for me to act the way that I'm going to have to act towards you, I can't be buddy with you and get lunch and laugh about stuff. Like I need to distance myself. Like, and that's, I imagine like being the person that has to do that. And it's like that sounds like that's kind of like a heavy weight to carry, but he did what he needed to do.
I think
it was good. It was all good.
Sorry, I'm looking up. I forget what it was. There was a movie with him and Sandra Bullock.
Oh, the proposal?
The Proposal.
Yeah.
That was another solid one. And I feel like, so again, that whole like typecasting, but it's weird. Him and a few other people, and kind of like my first one, it's like, it's always like you're seeing the same movie, but it's not. Like it's got a good story or like whatever, but it's just their character and how they do things fits what is going on. And I think that, you know, like the fact that he's a pretty boy, it does help. But I think that he finally got past the point of being the sex icon and the six pack with a great face. Like he's proven himself.
Right.
Like he really has. Like Ryan Reynolds is a fucking solid actor.
Yeah. Because even the one that really got to me was the movie Buried. Which, dude, it's because they're right. It is so
when he had to turn around.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh God. Oh, dude. I thought that I was gonna be okay watching that movie, and I was not okay. I was not fucking okay. Like, dude. And it's sorry, I apologize. But like, it's the fact that like, from what I've heard about it was that it was basically kind of like him doing a friend a favor, you know, and like
something about it was like a 3-day shoot or something.
Yeah, because it was so simple.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, really, like, that's your ocean. Yes.
Oh, just the fact that you can't fucking. Oh, I'm just screaming in the microphone. Okay.
If you guys have not seen Buried, we highly recommend it. That is one of those movies I would say take in once. Because it's
unfortunately, yes, it is one of those.
Because even there's actually a movie called Break that is kind of similar, but it's somebody that's in a plexiglass box in the trunk of a car. And every like 15 minutes, something gets unleashed into the box that makes it worse and worse and worse. So it's this idea that I think it's like the guy's a government agent or something, and he knows the location of the president. So they're basically torturing him, trying to get him to.
When I get out, I'm killing everybody.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh, when I get out, I'm killing fucking everybody.
Yeah.
You, mom, everybody.
What did I do? But no, just it was like the fact that even just the way that he processed that role, and like, because what I thought was really interesting about Buried was the fact that all the dialogue took place on a phone.
Right.
And it's in the fact that it was like when the battery gets lower and lower and lower, like you realize that this is like, oh my God, like, you know, like we are at the mercy of this cellular device. And that's the only way we're getting other characters in this movie. Like it just, and the fact that it never left, like people that make movies that are in one location, no matter the size, are truly talented people.
Look at Phone Booth.
Yeah, right. Dude, Phone Booth is a just solid ass movie.
I think they said it took like 8 days to film.
Oh, really?
Something like that. Yeah. Man. Do you remember the fact of what was the cool thing about that movie? Was that they never put the killer's name. I don't think it was one of those like in the preview and then even in the beginning credits. I don't think they did. And like you still don't even get like a quote clear shot of him at the end. But if you know, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil it. That's a good one. If you have never seen that, go fucking watch it.
Hands down. It is, a solid Colin Farrell movie.
And then when you see who it is at the end of the credits, you're like, oh, that is his voice.
Yeah, right. And a very good sinister voice too. And it's not that actor isn't good at that, but it was just like that's all he had to rely on.
Correct.
And he was genuinely terrifying. So, dude, fantastic.
Facts.
So, but nevertheless, I am very curious. What's your first actor?
So, Jim Carrey.
Solid choice.
It's just the fact of, like I said, this is going off of just the memories I have with this stuff, and it's. Jim Carrey is, yes, kind of typecasted, like I talked about earlier, where it's always kind of the same thing, but it didn't matter to me.
Right.
He took me somewhere in the fact of just laughing and hanging with my friends or quoting movies throughout my whole life, or whatever it is. And I just almost anything and everything that he's ever been in or a part of, I've watched. There's a few things that I haven't. And as far as like maybe some interviews and a few movies, which is, and I've seen clips, but Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
That is a movie that I've desperately wanted to watch.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
But that's like I said, one of the few, and I know that that's a good one because he isn't like funny like all the time or like at all in this movie. So, and that's the thing too, is that he can do other things. And one of the big things that showed me was the number 23.
Oh, hands down.
Again, kind of got a bad rap. And I think it was because it was Jim Carrey trying to do this like different role. Dude, he nailed it.
Yeah.
And it's not just because he's one of my favorite actors. No, he did. He did. And there was another thing that I've only seen like once and even some clips, but there was a movie that he did before he did like In Living Color or like as he was doing it or something. I forget it's like a street name or something like that is the title, but he plays this like alcoholic brother.
I actually know the movie you're talking about. Yeah, because what was it? It was three brothers, and he was one of them.
Yeah, I believe so. But mom was the one that told me about it. But yeah, so then he got started in Once Bitten, which I've only seen again clips of. But again, I know that there's stuff that he has done that he kind of shows his different sides. But dude, he's just a solid actor. He's funny. He's made of rubber.
Right.
I don't watch Sesame Street, but have you seen him do Happy and Sad Feet?
Dude,
come on.
If that does not just make your skin
with
crawl.
his red or yellow chucks, I think. Yeah. Like, dude, come on. So yeah, he's definitely one of all of his movies, all of them.
Yeah, I think that when it comes down to him is that I know for a fact that Jim Carrey is going to hit my palate exactly the way that I want him to.
100%.
Because it's like you don't like. I think that's what makes the number 23 or even like the Majestic like that. That's what makes his movies really good is that you get used to him, having a script where it says we just let Jim Carrey go or whatever. Where it's like no, like. Especially his role in the Majestic of him being somebody that has memory loss and, him just like, maybe thinking, oh God, am I this person? And then him, it's for a spoiler for anybody that's not seen it, but like, just, I'll give you a second to get out of here. So he's essentially, he was involved in filmmaking and he's in this town that, he's trying to essentially rebuild his life after losing his memory and him just standing in the theater thinking he's enjoying a movie, but realizing that it was something that he made. Yeah. And it's just in the realization that he has. And it's just like the amount of depth that Jim has with what he is capable of as an actor is truly incredible, because even when he's doing his comedic stuff, it's the physical comedy is a whole other thing. Oh, 100%
committed,
100%.
And I think the thing that I appreciate the most, the more that I found out over the years is not just because I hate Christmas, but when he did The Grinch, I know that he compared it to like torture and had to have like that, like whatever, to help him meditate because of how long it
the
took.
Navy SEAL. Yeah. That helped him out. Yeah.
But it's the fact of he basically like kicked a hole in his dressing room wall or something after the first day. But it basically boiled down the fact of this is for the kids. Mm-hmm. This is a movie. Like, fucking respect, dude.
Yeah.
He's like, nope. And that was the first day.
Yeah.
And he is the main star, the most on screen. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
could you imagine being like, because I try to imagine this whenever, you know, like whenever somebody is in a makeup chair, whether or not it's Dave Bautista for Drax, or if it's, you know, like you have like, you know, these full bodied, you know, things that happen where, do you think the rest of the rest of the cast and crew bitch and moan, and if they ever did in front of them to be like, I'm sorry?
Yeah.
It's like, no, dude, I have a good attitude right now.
Shut the fuck up.
Because it's just, I don't know, like that to me is, I think, the part that people don't think about is that, no, we just got a really good Grinch movie. It's like, no, he was in this makeup chair for however long
before you showed up.
Right. And it's the fact that it's like, no, I'm sorry, he can't even eat his lunch normally because he has to do this. And it's like, maybe he has to drink something through a straw, or like, it's stuff like that where like that's what gives me such a deep appreciation for him in that role. And anybody that's done any kind of deep prosthetic stuff, like Doug Jones, who's done, you know, all the creatures from like or he did one of the creatures from Pan's Labyrinth. He did like The Shape of Water. You know, he was in Hellboy. Like, so it's just, it's such an incredible thing that it's, because film is just a magic trick anyway. It's the fact that everything is right. Like, everything is put together properly.
Sure.
And that movie is just, it is magic. Like, it's incredible what he was able to do.
It is. And I feel like he has done so much for a lot of people over the years, as far as like, you know, helping out their day. And I know that he is a quite sad individual.
Sure.
Anymore, or always has been. But it kind of falls into that Robin Williams mentality where it's like, he's so sad, but he makes sure everybody else around him is not.
Right.
But either way, like, he was one that he was like immediate, like without fail. Like, that was one of my first ones.
Just, yeah.
I would say he might possibly be my number one favorite actress in general. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Man, he's a very competent one. I mean, because I think that especially when somebody can make you laugh, you know, and that's what makes, you know, people like him so special. And it's
for sure,
it's just awesome.
Absolutely. All right, well, I drug that one out first. So who's your second one?
Okay, so this one, I'm excited for the next two, but my next one, I absolutely adore her. She has just done, she has done some incredible roles. While I've not been able to watch all of her stuff, but like, she kind of almost gives me Grandma Dora vibes in some ways.
Okay.
And it's Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates,
bro. I remember being a kid, and
I'm pissed I didn't think of her.
It was, well, because what came to my mind first was Misery. And it just I remember being a kid and just watching this, and it was kind of like, you ever have this thing when you're a kid and like you can't like put all the pieces together of something that you've watched, but you know for a fact that like you've seen one scene of, you know, her maybe picking up the sledgehammer, but then like, and then later on there's, you know, Roger, you know, just like doing his thing, like trying to get through the house and like catching the, you know, the penguin, you know, like it's just it's all that stuff. Like that movie was such a crucial part of like when I was growing up, because it was Stephen King's It. That was one of the scary things that was on, and Misery was always on. And I think like maybe like Storm of the Century was like kind of like one of those things, that, you know, back when it was the, you know, double DVDs, you know, and the, you know, sometimes even if you got the double, you know, VHS thing like Titanic or something, you know, but, oh my God, no, it just, dude, she is just incredible. And I love the way that she is so dynamic and so polar opposite with some of the roles that she does, because we know for a fact that she can be completely out of her mind. And what really blew my mind with it was that what was it? Like, how did she word it? Was that she said something to the effect of, if you thought that Annie Wilkes was bad, wait till you see me in American Horror Story Coven.
I'm glad you brought her up in American Horror Story.
Solid season, dude. That is probably one of my favorite seasons. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, she was in a couple, and I think that was another turning point for me with her. And like I said, I'm glad you brought her up, and I'm mad that I didn't. But yeah, you're absolutely right, man. Like with her being in that show, no matter what character she plays, she's another one of those. She just nails it, dude.
Yeah,
without fail. So yeah, solid choice.
Yeah, it's because even the 2 seasons of American Horror Story that I was thinking of was Coven and then Freak Show, and how she played the bearded lady.
Oh,
and just, dude, it was the fact that because I think that it was the scene when she's sitting with the doctor when she realizes that she's dying. And he's telling her, like, ma'am, like, you can't drink, like, you can't do this, like, you are literally living on borrowed time. And he's like, I want to be able to see you live on this planet for as long as possible. And the way that she just kind of puts her hand on his shoulder, and she's like, you were the only person that has ever been truly nice to me.
I do remember that scene.
And just like, dude, she was such an incredible character in that show. And like, and again, that's what I love about what that show does, is that it handles character development so well, where it's like you go from absolutely hating Michael Chiklis to like near the end, you're like, I am like in tears for this guy because of what he's going through. And she had major arcs in that show like that too. Like, and it's just, from, how she entered the show, how she left the show. Like it was such an incredible role for her. And like, watching the little teaser previews you would see of the characters where it's like, Kathy Bates is the bearded lady. It's like, this is the best casting that you could have chosen. Like this is incredible. Facts. And even her like semi-minor role that she had in Titanic, of like being the one woman that was like, all right, no, we're going back. We're getting people. Yeah. And, and like the fact that she was like, the rich, important woman that got dropped on the boat, but she did not consider herself any better than anybody else. And, looking at DiCaprio and being like, no, start from the outside, work your way in. Like, don't be confused,
Yeah, I feel like that's probably how she is as a real human being. Mm-hmm.
I would like to think so.
Yeah, like I really do. And do you know where I feel like I saw her true colors is, and not that she doesn't be herself on any other like talk show or anything. And I'm not trying to be funny. She was on GGN, which was Snoop Dogg's kind of like talk show whatever it was. Yeah. And she was coming on because she was in that show Disjointed, which is a solid watch, man.
I've watched a couple of episodes and was very pleased with what I saw. It was very good.
It was a little stiff with all characters at first, but it did start to warm in, and then it kind of just fizzled out. Mm-hmm. But that being said, was, she was smoking and like relaxed and all this stuff and talking about that. And I feel like that is just how she is. Mm-hmm. Yep. She is wealthy. Yep. She is famous, but she was there in a fucking hoodie. Like, you know what I mean? Like she is just a human being like everybody else. And I think that's where a lot of us, myself included, sometimes forget that.
Yeah.
Where these movie stars, these famous people, dude, they're just a chick and a dude. You know what I mean? Like it is what, like they go home and take a shower and you know what I mean? Like and take their shoes off 1 foot at a time, like just like I do. Like, probably, oh my God, we were late. Like,
it's no, like, it's order and take out, like all that stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's just, it showed what she, I think, really is like. And I feel like bringing up that role, no, that is probably how she really is. Yeah. I would like to think. You're right.
For sure. And it's, I don't know. There's always been a very calming nature, even when she's played, very sinister roles and done things, is that it's just like, I feel very at home when I watch her.
And when she gets mad.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah, dude.
When she gets mad and stuff, buddy, the devil is behind her.
Yeah.
The devil.
Oh yeah. Did she actually play Bobby Boucher's mom? Yeah. Little girls are the devil.
When you find out that's how he learned how to hit or where it comes from, because she fucking tackles his dad. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
It's such a solid movie.
It really is.
Dude, The Waterboy does not get love, and it should get love. It is like, it's an Adam Sandler movie. I know what I'm getting into, and it's so good.
I feel like comedy movies get a bad rap. I really do. I feel like if it's a comedy, if it's a horror, basically if it's not a thriller or like a documentary or based on true events, it kind of is like pushed to the side and doesn't really get recognized like that.
Right.
Because it's like you said, what do you always call it? Like junk food? It's like junk food, but it's like, no, man, this shit's solid. Yeah. Like this is fire.
We got to see, Henry Winkler's ass with a tattoo. I'm sure it was a stand-in, but like we got to see like there's that aspect of it. Like, and then like I got to talk. Oh yeah, and then like he can't understand a damn word that he's saying. Like, and like even the the one dude that kicks the Klan member between the goals.
Oh yeah,
it is just there are just moments of just absolute gold
for sure
in that film, and and the fact that she's a part of it too is just great because it's like I can tell that she doesn't take herself too seriously.
I was just about to say, like, she took a role like that to have fun. To have fun, like, okay, yeah, she probably got paid pretty good, but she was like, this is going to be fucking fun.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to do this. This is going to be hilarious. So, yeah, man, dude, solid.
Yes.
Solid.
I love Kathy Bates. She's awesome. So
hell yeah.
She's up there with a couple of other, like, I mean, because there's some other, female actresses that I think that do a great job, but just as far as like her stuff, like she just is a well-seasoned actress that is well deserving of all the fame and all the praise and stuff that she gets because she has just done nothing but earn it. So, but I am curious though as to what your next one is.
So this is going to be weird. So my last two are going to be very similar, and you'll understand how I'm going to go about this. But the cast of The Office.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, I say that to say this: if I have to choose, though. And it's still going to be hard. I'm going to say John Krasinski or Rainn Wilson.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So when I say the cast of The Office, I mean the fact of there was not one weak link in that show.
No, not at all.
And I remember when I was going through the show with you, when I was going through the show with you, and I told you, I said, while there are main characters, plural, that you always see after a while, like everybody like kind of has like a character base and like builds up and you get to know everybody by the end. So it's not like anybody was a quote real star of the show, but there were a few that were on camera more. So what I'm saying is that, yeah, the whole cast was just fucking solid, but John Krasinski and Rainn Wilson, I think, if I had to choose, I might say John, only because I know that he's done a little less than I think Rainn Wilson, but with him doing A Quiet Place,
oh God,
not only writing it, but being in it, and again, how he acted in a very serious, very different role.
Yeah.
Not even just serious, but fucking no dialogue, basically.
Well, especially within the first 5 minutes of that film, you understand the movie you are getting into.
Yeah.
And it's just, if you've not seen the movie, I highly suggest you watch it. I don't want to spoil that for anybody, but like, it's that whole idea that it's like nobody is safe.
Correct.
And it's the fact that all this stuff is happening. Like, and I think that's what I was so impressed by with his writing, was the fact that it's like, no, like, unfortunately, sometimes things happen.
Yeah.
And it's such a wild concept, but it's also the easiest concept, which is be quiet. Do not make a sound. And it's just, oh my God, it's such a terrifying movie, but it's a terrifyingly great movie.
So yes, that is the thing I also wanted to touch on too. Apparently I heard that he was making a story for his kids. And was like trying to write a movie or a script or whatever. And he like doesn't really like horror movies. And somehow, some way, he said it like flipped over to like this thing that like it became.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, dude, this guy's a genius.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is a fucking genius. Not only is he super funny and very relatable, and just like I said, the whole cast did the same thing, but like you feel like these people are real fucking people on the show.
Yes.
That's hard to do. It really is. You think when you walk on the street, when you see John Krasinski, it's going to be Jim and Pam.
Yeah.
It's not. Jenna Fisher's at home with her actual husband,
yeah.
like with her family, whatever. But it dupes you. And the fact that he did this while being that person, or like, I'm saying like after he was, that character, but like to be able to do that is real talent. Yeah. And the fact that not only did he write it, but he was in it as well. Rainn Wilson is very solid, but I feel like Rainn Wilson, again, kind of just always does a Rainn Wilson thing.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
Right. Again, if you're going to hire Rainn Wilson for your work, it would not shock me if he was just a different version of Dwight, that he doesn't just talk about beats. Like, I hate to say it like that, because like even the movie The Rocker, like it's or I think it's what it's called, where he's the
Rocker.
Oh my god, like that is just it is a fun, solid movie.
It is,
and it's one of those, again, like it's kind of one of those throwaways where it's like, no, they probably made it for a cheap amount. The majority of it went to costume and some stunt work, and it's just. But again, it's like, you're going to have a good time, and I think that choosing John out of the two of them is, I would say that that's a solid choice. Because he's just great.
Have you ever seen the movie 13 Hours?
I've not. I know the couple of scenes where like with the whole arm thing.
Yeah. Stop fucking touching it. Because it's like hanging.
Because even like, what is it like when they start coming through, that he just wraps it up, grabs the gun, and just keeps going. Like that is
a fucking gangster. That's a man. That's a fucking man. You shitting me?
Dude,
Jesus Christ.
I stubbed my toe and I have problems. Okay. So like,
but so he was in that. And then like, what is it? Jack Reacher, I believe. Like that was the show or whatever it was. Like, dude, John Krasinski is a solid actor. And I think that, him having this successful career on this show first, it was almost one of those, like, he probably thought, oh my God, this is all I'm ever going to do.
Sure. Yeah.
And not that he can't live off of The Office money, but it's like, well, you want to do other things now. Why wouldn't you? And I don't know, like, I know that everybody probably would have gone with Steve Carell in that aspect because of what he does, but I'm sorry, man, John Krasinski and Rainn Wilson, they took it for me.
Well, I think especially too, like, John just as a person, because I remember even, as when COVID was happening.
Yep.
And they were like, you know what, let's talk about some good news. Like, what are some good things that have happened? Where it's like he's always focusing on positivity. Like, you can tell that him and Emily Blunt are just absolutely in love with each other. Like,
he married Mary Poppins, dude.
Yeah, right. He's the happiest person. Well, for him, but it's like it's just nuts, dude. Like, it's just. I love even the way that I can't remember who it was, but he said that he went somewhere to meet up with her, and there was like security or the front desk or something, and he's like, I'm here to see Emily, and the guy was like, well, who are you? How are you related? And he's like, I'm married to her, and he just looked at him and went, you?
Yeah.
He's like, wow, thanks, man, appreciate it. But it's like that stuff it's relatable. Like he's just a cool dude in general, and you can tell that he does enjoy what he does.
Absolutely.
Because you can tell that there's some people that act just for a paycheck, Now, I would also say that there are actors that just do paycheck films. Even Michael Caine, he did Jaws: The Revenge to buy a house. So so it's things like that. But there's not a hint of that in him. He's just like John Krasinski loves what he does. He does. It's just so cool. But yeah.
All right. So what's your third and final?
This guy is very dear to my heart. Probably I would say that out of all the actors that I like in the world, I would say that he definitely is my favorite just because of the roles that he's done. And while I'm not familiar with all of his work, I'm familiar with enough of it that for the most part, like I know that if I'm going to own like a collection of actors' movies on DVD or have it on hard copy, I want his.
Is it Robin Williams?
It's Anton Yelchin.
Oh,
dude, that guy was. Number one is that I know that it's very difficult, especially with the Heath Ledger thing, where it's like, man, like this is the last time I'm ever going to see him do a new role.
Yeah,
and the most recent movie that I think that he was in, there may have been like some other projects, but Green Room was I think like a semi like independent or like kind of like a semi smaller.
Yeah, I've never seen it,
bro. You want a solid it is just a solid brutal movie, and it's so intense. But it's just seeing him in that role was like he fit it so well. But really, what made me fall in love with him as an actor was Odd Thomas.
Dude, that movie's fire.
If you guys have not seen the movie Odd Thomas, and if you don't know anything about Dean Koontz, oh my God, do yourself a favor, watch this incredible movie, because
that's one of mom's like favorite authors.
Yeah,
is Dean Koontz.
Yeah, I mean, he just creates amazing characters and does just such a wonderful job. But especially with Odd, he is so unique and quirky. And I don't know how much of that translates from the book, but I do know the movie kind of maybe embellished in that a little bit, where like he's kind of sarcastic, or like, he's
Mom said it was a pretty solid adaptation. Like I don't think it was like word for word, and like, there was some things changed, but she's like, from what I remember, because she watched it a few times, she's like, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, I love even the way that he embodies it and says it, where he's like, I may see dead people, but by God, I do something about it. And it's just, he's such an interesting character, and especially just the way that he just embraced it. And you could tell, again, I know this is the general theme of the night, but people that love what they do, or he loved what he did. And it's just, it's one of those situations where like I kind of equate it to Stevie Ray Vaughan, where it's like the guy didn't even have a chance to die normally. Like, he didn't die of natural causes. Like, he died in a freaking helicopter crash. It's like, so it's like what the hell? Like, he, like, if he was still alive today, he would be doing incredible work. And the horrific thing that happened with Anton and everything, where it's like, oh my God, like, he was, in his prime, he was on his way to, whatever, tryout, or maybe going to go see some friends or whatever, just for the night. Like, to me, he's one of those actors that I look at and like, it really frustrates me, because I'm like, dude, it's not fair.
Right.
Like, it's like he had so much more ahead of him. Like, he was Chekhov in the Star Trek movies, and did he was
solid in those.
Did the accent so well. Mm-hmm. And just like, you can tell that he was just, it was like, people on set even talked about him, where they were like, he just brightened the room. Mm. And however, I would say that my favorite film that he has ever been in is Alpha Dog.
Never seen it.
Oh my God. It is.
Never seen it yet.
I have watched it, I would say maybe 2 or 3 times.
Isn't that the one with Miles Teller and Jonah Hill?
No, it's with Justin Timberlake.
Oh, that one.
Yeah,
that one.
The one where he's kidnapped. But it's like this complicated thing where, because like, what I love about what movies do, especially when the filmmaker has a vision, is that when he's being kidnapped for the first time, you see, people in the distance looking over, but I think that their faces are blurred, and a little dot goes over their face, and a word pops up next to it and goes witness 1 and 2, and then accomplice 3 or whatever.
Oh,
like it's
one of those.
It's a very interesting, just like almost kind of like, I guess you could say, artistic film in that way, where you kind of learn the story as you go, but it's like the film does it for you. And you understand, where it's like, wait a second. So this is like, obviously this is a crime. Like, he's been kidnapped. So, okay, so these are the witnesses. Like, this is what happened here. But that is literally the tip of the iceberg of what happens in that movie. And it made me realize that Justin Timberlake could actually act.
Dude,
like,
Justin
he's great.
Timberlake is a solid actor. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He's kind of like that whole Eminem thing, where people are like, 8 Mile, where they're like, oh shit, he can. I'm like, yeah, he can.
Yeah.
Like, he did good. So
yeah. Just that was a movie that I remember, actually, I think I was watching it with Luke for the first time, because he had seen it, and it was a movie that actually did make me cry. And just it was such an incredible script. It was just so well put together, and like, you could tell that he chose his roles very carefully. And like once he like got past the point of like establishing himself, and he can like, make decisions on what he wanted to do, or things like that. Like, he made just really good movies. And it's that frustration. Like even the remake of Fright Night is incredible. It's with Colin Farrell, dude.
I've only ever seen it once, but dude, that was fucking awesome. Yeah. I need to rewatch that, because that's got what's his face,
McLovin.
Yeah, Michael Pinsniff or whatever. I forget how to say his last name. You correct me in the comments, but
don't worry, you'll tell us.
Yeah, right. But no, that one is a pretty solid one. Yeah.
Just because what was it?
I forgot that was him.
When Michael comes to his house, he's like, "Yeah, your neighbor. Yeah, he's a vampire." He's like, "Jerry? Seriously? That's a terrible vampire name." Like, and it's. Like, the way that he kind of embodies it, like, he does have this way of, when you get Anton, you do get Anton, But in the same hand is that he also like changes himself up enough where it's like, no, like I'm at home, but I'm also kind of surprised.
Yeah.
You know, this is a nice surprise. You know, it's a really cool thing to have.
I feel like it's the same thing with like the whole Jim Carrey aspect where it's like you kind of know what you're getting, but it is a nice surprise on the roles he's bringing it to or like this scenario that they're in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agreed.
For sure. Yeah, but no, it's Anton Yelchin. Just, I mean, again, if he's in a movie or if he's in a TV show or if he's in in like a commercial or something, like I'll watch it. Like he's almost like kind of like a Josh Peck, where it's like I'll just no matter what he's in, I have to know what he's going to do with it. So if I knew more of Josh Peck's movies, I probably would have chosen him. But I mainly know him from Drake and Josh, and what
was that movie he was in?
Stuff.
Was it ATM?
Oh yeah, where
bro, that was a good one.
That was
I liked it.
It was dissatisfying.
I didn't mind it.
Like only in the way that I was kind of like, wait, I'm like, so he just goes to ATMs and kills people? I was like, all right, well, all right. I thought maybe there was more to discover where I was like, because it was a definite good scary movie. And it was also that idea of like just being stuck in this, like just interior, ATM, and the fact that it's like it's freezing.
Yeah.
And, it's like, what do we do? And then he starts filling it with water and like he's just sitting in that lawn chair just watching them like, oh, God. But yeah, it's all kinds of fucked up. But no, as far as your third one, so what do you got for us?
This is going to be more so in the fact of, again, with the exception of like one or two characters that did a couple of things different, you'll understand. But the cast of Big Bang.
Oh, God, yes.
Again, going back for that whole just sharing memories or like, things that I kind of always watch or just like a comfort thing. But that is one of them. It took me a long time. Funny story about the Big Bang Theory is I was living in Pittsburgh and I think it was about 3 or 4 seasons deep. And the girl that I was dating at the time, we had a friend and he said something about it. And I'd always see it on TV and I'm like, I can't fucking do this. Like, this is stupid. Like, this does not look appealing at all. Same with The Office. She got me into it.
Sure. Yeah.
But
she had good taste. Yeah.
A guy was leaving or our buddy was leaving and he's like, oh, you should watch it. I have like the first 2 seasons or whatever on DVD. He's like, I'll bring it over. He's like, just watch it. I'm like, no, I don't think I want to. And one night, we just threw it on and dude, we binged it all the way up until I think we like landed it right where we only had a couple of weeks until like the new season that we were caught up on was coming out. And then we just watched it. But that show is something that I have binged just like The Office over and over again. It's background noise. Or I'll just sit down and watch it. I was watching it last night. It's on HBO.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
The actors and actresses in that show were so good. And I understand that the character development took a little while, but I enjoyed it in the fact of you had so many different sides to, I guess, a lifestyle that you got to see. And everybody just brought it, no matter if it was Sheldon or if it was Amy. Like when they brought in Mayim, dude.
Oh, dude.
I loved Amy. Like I loved Amy's character, how she became like an all the time thing. And that show and everybody in it just did such a good job. I feel like they all were just kind of one cohesive thing. And I can't pick one. It's just the fact of that and The Office do something for me. It's like healing. And when I'm having a bad day, I throw one on. When I'm having a good day, I throw one on, or I watch them both, or whatever it is. Like getting to share both of those shows with you for the first time. Was awesome, man. We would have our night and we would just binge like, anywhere from 4 to 6 episodes.
Yeah. Cause I mean, and that was the beautiful thing about it was that like they were so short and just like being able to get through them or whatever. Like, and even having the, like having the nights where like whether or not you're binging something, like I know for a fact, like, like when we did Squid Game, we literally had to stop because it was like 2 a.m. and it was right at the tug of war, like when it's introduced.
And we're like, we don't got 55 more minutes. We got work.
Pissed. But no, it's just, I mean, there was something really special about those 2 shows. And I think that while I definitely think that The Office influenced me more, I think I related more to The Big Bang.
Sure.
You know, and it's not just even the fact of like, oh, Kyle's a nerd or things like that, but it's like there were some very uncomfortable life things that were happening in that show where I was like, oh my God, they are tackling this head on and there is nowhere to hide. And it's just, I think that that's what a lot of people lose about The Big Bang Theory is that there's so much truth and honesty in that show, whether or not like I can't stand Sheldon 90% of the time, but I know the type of person that he is. I know why he's doing what he's doing, and I know that he does genuinely mean well. Like it's just.
Oh, so you don't like Sheldon?
Sheldon, dude, like he just. There's a couple points where I'm like, dude, like I couldn't break out of he's so smart, he's stupid.
Sure.
And it's because there's times where I'm like, bro, like it's like, oh my God, like, you know, but I mean, obviously as things moved on, like, because like when he has the moment of that, he's like, I don't like change. And it's like that's like a frustration thing for me where it's like, well, no, dude, things change every single day. Like it's being able to keep up with that. But how he even realizes that, I think, because I think it's Penny that says it to him, like, you know, well, Sheldon, you've changed a lot since I've met you. And it's like there was like he did come to healthy moments. And like I think that those were things that redeemed his character for me. But it's just for the most part, it was just like nails on a chalkboard. Where I was like, oh my fucking God. I'm like, dude, I like it's just mainly seeing Sheldon go through it because Sheldon is the only one that like he basically has to deal with him, but he's also his best friend. So it's like this weird like push and pull with it. We're like, no, like that's what's beautiful about their relationship is that Sheldon just understands him. And he knows exactly what to do, but it's like
Sheldon understands who?
Oh my God, sorry, it's Leonard, not Sheldon.
Okay, yeah, sorry, okay, yeah, Leonard,
no,
yeah.
I meant to say Leonard the whole time. You can crucify me. No, but Leonard, like what Leonard had to go through, just because he just like he consistently tried his best, did what he did, and it's just like it just was not good enough for the most part. And but the thing is that again, like. They took these extremes that were in the show, but they also brought them to a healthy place. I mean, I think specifically in the last episode when he recognizes everybody for who they really are, it's incredible. It's awesome.
There was a lot of cool things I feel like happened in that show because they were as intelligent as they were and had the jobs that they had, and it was able like Howard went to space,
right?
Like that was
dogs up here in the 60s.
We just dropped something for me.
You are killing me right now. Yeah.
But like that was what was cool was you got like cool elements like that, or the fact that everything in the background or whatever, like maybe like equation or whatever it was all real stuff.
Yes, yeah,
that were like really meant something. So like they did take the time and effort to like make sure it wasn't just squiggles on a board,
right,
or something in the background. It was real shit, and that was more the fact of like commitment on the show. That I enjoyed, but going back to the whole Sheldon thing, that like I said, I didn't realize you disliked him so much. But the fact of saying like, you know, he has wholesome moments. There was the scene where it was, I think Firefly ended.
Oh,
and it was him and Penny talking, and she just kind of like they were discussing certain things, and she kind of like shrugged it off, and he's like, "I'm mad at you," and she's like, "For what?" He's like, "I told you something that really meant something to me, and you just took it as something that's a joke."
Right.
But it really did affect him because of his mother had him tested. He's not crazy, but doesn't mean that he didn't have some forms of like autism or things like that to where they never said, but it's always implied in the fact of that's how he is. He doesn't like change. They took that and spun that the right way where she's like, you're right. I should have thought of it that way, and I'm sorry.
Right. It's
it's the fact of like, but he had this moment where he's like, I'm mad at you. He doesn't always do that. And I think the show had a lot more of that than people give it credit on all characters. Not just Sheldon, but that is interesting. I didn't realize you didn't really care for him.
Yeah, it was. Now, again, he is such a crucial part to the show.
He is.
And like, so it's the fact that it's like,
So how did you enjoy it so much?
I just knew that it was like whatever fresh hell that Sheldon has for me tonight. it's the stuff that surrounds him. Like, because it's like Dwight from The Office, where it's like the hilarity of the show is Sheldon. So it's like, it's that, mentality, but again, I think that it's like, not to like misread it, where it's like I think that some of the best emotional moments on that show are from him, like especially when Howard's mom dies.
Yes,
and he's the only one that, and I understand why Leonard was like Sheldon, come on, like don't. He's like, no, I really think it would help, and and
he's like, no, go ahead.
And it's the fact that like he says what he says, and like he actually was a true comfort for them, or like when he lends Penny money, where it's like even Leonard's like, look, I understand Sheldon's got a lot of problems, but like he literally does not care. It's just it's things.
If you ever
like
show
that.
those couple 50s in Green Lantern's ass.
Yeah. So, but it's just I don't know. Like that was a show that I think I had a lot of push and pull. But in the same hand was that I also like I had a hard time with Michael for a long time on the Office.
Fair. So did his parents.
Right. Yeah.
They wouldn't watch him. They were like, that's not my son.
Right.
Apparently that's what I've heard. And a couple times I was like, no, because he's fucking good.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. He knows exactly what to do, and he brought it. You know? It's just. I don't know. I think The Big Bang Theory is definitely it is special to me. And again, like I came to a good place, coming through the show and like realizing like, wow, like they really did something incredible.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you finished it then.
Me too. Yeah.
I'm glad you at least finished it and gave it the chance, even with disliking a character so strongly, that can really make or break. Like if you do not like everybody that is that's another show where not everybody's kind of the main character.
Yeah.
So, oh man. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. You guys can crucify me. Say whatever you want.
No, that's an honest feedback, man.
Yeah.
So okay, you think you know a guy?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I will say that especially like when Bernadette came into the show, that's when I kind of found like. It was her and then and Amy as well too, because you even said it where it's like, look, there's going to be a shift here where the dynamic's going to change, where it's like, no, they got older, they got married, like they're having kids now, like it's that whole deal. And I think that to bring in two characters, I think that they were the best choices that they could have from actor standpoint, and also for storytelling and pacing. Was that it did everything to make sure that show lasted as long as it did, but it did because it didn't come to a screeching halt. It coasted, it landed, and people got off. And it's like it was just. I think the pacing is incredible on it. It's really good.
Can we appreciate? I was thinking about this earlier, and first of all, we should have said this earlier, but rest in peace, Matthew Perry.
100%.
Let's say that because I didn't pick him in anything just because I felt like that was like okay, but like he really was. We talked about this earlier. Probably my favorite. Him and Joey, I think.
Yeah.
But that's what got me thinking. I feel like Penny was the female Joey.
Sure. Yeah.
Because of the fact of not saying that either one were dumb. Well, Joey is
a dumbass. 100%.
What is it? Rachel always says, she's like, oh, thank God you're pretty. But it was the fact of she was surrounded by such smart people all the time.
Right.
She was a waitress and she was an actress, for most of the show. She wasn't as smart. She always had this kind of thing going, but then she would kind of catch on to stuff or like blurt stuff out. And she's like, oh my God. Like,
right. Yeah. Like she would scare the shit out of you where you're like, what have you done with Penny? Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But I meant to touch on that where it's like, can we appreciate the fact that she's basically a female Joey?
For sure.
And she nailed it, dude. So yeah, love it. The whole cast.
Yeah, I think that like even like you talking about Matthew Perry, where it's like, man, like again, like that I think has shocked everybody. Where it's just like that, we don't really think about iconic people like people and Friends just not being a thing anymore, or not being around. And I don't know. To me, it's made me fall in love with the show more, and it's made me pay attention more because because growing up, like I was never like.
diehard fan.
I never watched it like when it was on TV as far as like, or what I should say is like watching it consistently. Like it was always just kind of on, like, cause like whether like mom or dad had it on or something, but I remember laughing a lot. And I remember just enjoying it and even getting to take in, a lot of episodes as an adult. Like it's just that moment of like, damn, like this is just an incredible show. And and again, like I think that, everybody does have their favorites, but if Chandler's not in your top 2 or 3, it just would shock me because
I feel like we relate the most to him as far as like, one of the things I always take from it when he says something about like sarcasm is my defense mechanism.
Yeah, I make jokes whenever I'm uncomfortable.
I make jokes when I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Cheese. The thing that always gets me is where it's like one of the first episode where he's Ross says something about it's like a lump in my throat or I'm gonna vomit. He's like, cookie? But no. Anyways, not to get off on a whole tangent, but like I said, it's just one of those things where when you do compare sitcoms like that, like they are very similar, but people execute things differently, and the fact that she's the female Joey was the best option, so I enjoyed it. But Friends is another solid one. I didn't pick that just because I didn't want it to be like, oh, Matthew Perry just passed away. But that is a solid number 1 or 2 for me as well.
Well, I think that if saving that for if people get deep into the episode, they can just have that. Right. So and that's, again, because like we've been doing the clip thing and trying to put stuff up and whatever. Like, I mean, we're fighting the good battle right now on YouTube, and
the good battle.
So we're doing what we can, and it's been frustrating, but in the same hand is that also looking at what's coming too. I know that I've been in the situation where I've been like semi struggling with that, where I'm like, man, like I want this to work. I want, these things to happen or whatever. But in the same hand is that, I'm digging what's going on right now. Like things are like, it comes in waves.
Me too.
It's like, it's one of those where like I have good moments, I have bad moments, but I think especially like being in it where it's like, wow, like we can beat this. We can do something. This is going to be fun. Like, it's just, that's what I'm trying to like hold on to, so. But in the same hand is that you guys have done nothing but interact and have enjoyed the stuff that we've done. And it's wild, like just how everything has changed up to now. And like the fact that you guys want to even sit around and hear us talk about, some actors for a little while is just really cool. Yep. And we really appreciate you being here and taking your time. And, just whether or not you're cleaning or if you're driving, I know I think we still have some truck drivers that listen to us.
Oh yeah.
So if you do, we appreciate you. You're making America move, all that jazz. But as always, Eric, is there anything that you would like to say to the audience before we officially hop off here after we've talked about actors and our favorite ones?
Could we be any more done with this episode? Rest in peace, buddy.
We appreciate you guys. We'll see you in the next one. Adios.